And welcome back to Fresh Outlook. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. I'm TWB. The Academy Awards were given out on Sunday, and the presenter of the biggest award of the night was the First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama, in the process upstaging Jack Nicholson. So have the lines blurred between Hollywood and politics? Take a look.
Live from the Dolby Theater at Hollywood and Highland, it's the Oscars.
The Oscars and controversy often go hand in hand. But according to some, this year's star-studded event seemed more political than ever. Take, for instance, the Oscar for Best Picture, handed out by none other than the First Lady, Michelle Obama.
And the Oscar goes to Argo. Congratulations.
And the film chosen? Argo, a movie some say was a nod to White House policy on Iran.
I thank everyone in the movie, on the movie, worked on the movie, did anything with this movie, gets thanked. I want to thank Canada. I want to thank our friends in Iran living in terrible circumstances right now.
Then there was the ceremony itself. Host Seth MacFarlane doled out a bevy of jokes. Many felt were anti-woman, racist, and anti-Semitic. In light of all the weirdness of these awards, some viewers and critics are beginning to ask questions. Do politics decide which movies win at the Oscars? Should Hollywood be expected to tell everyone's story correctly? And is the brave new world of independent media a better match for the growing complexity of our culture and its politics?
All right, I love this topic. So many questions and a great discussion to be had. First, want to introduce a couple new panelists. Brother Dash, introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from.
Hi, I'm Brother Dash. I'm a spoken word poet, a writer, and a culture critic, and I live in New Jersey.
Terrific, welcome. And also we should have a Skype guest joining us, or a guest via Skype, that is, Justin Mashouf. He is a two-time Emmy Award-winning filmmaker. Justin, welcome.
Hi, how you doing?
Great, thanks for having us. Thanks for having us. You know what I meant. So let's first get into sort of the elephant in the room, Michelle Obama presenting the biggest award of the night. I thought it was completely inappropriate. What does the First Lady of the United States have anything to do with the Academy Awards? And as a side note, she kind of reminded me of Vanna White. Like, congratulations. I was like, I wanted to be like, can I buy a vowel? You know, I mean, that's kind of what she seemed like just like a trophy girl. And I didn't like the whole thing, the whole point of it. What did you think?
Well, say how you really feel, TW.
Yeah. Okay, all right, let me tell you now how I really feel. Okay. Brother Dash, what do you think?
I don't know. I think it was a little much ado about nothing. She's a supporter of the arts, and this isn't unprecedented. You had Ronald Reagan, who did a satellite, kind of introduction.
Doesn't mean it's right just because it's unprecedented.
Well, it's been done before by individuals in the White House, affiliated with the White House. So I didn't consider it that big of a deal. I think a bigger deal is perhaps what the meat of our discussion is going to be in this segment, rather than what the First Lady did.
Okay, all right, well, let's get to the meat of the discussion. Justin?
Under normal circumstances, I feel like, it really would have not been much of an issue, but, it was a very odd choice for this year, having Argo and Zero Dark 30 in the running for Best Picture. Just a very kind of odd situation.
Why is it odd? Tell us more.
I mean, those films can be considered quite self-serving to to basically the government's narrative of the CIA, one of torture, and then two of the official U.S. narrative on essentially what has gone down between Iran and U.S. relations. So. Quite a troubling depiction on both ends, and to find the First Lady coming kind of front and center and giving the award to Argo, it's just it's a bit off-putting.
Okay, so are you saying that those two, Zero Dark 30 and Argo, would you say they were historically inaccurate from a filmmaker's perspective and a historical perspective?
From a filmmaker's perspective, I mean, you could look at Argo as one of the most inaccurate pieces of drama. The official events, and Ben Affleck has owned up to a lot of the exaggerations, or poetic justices, if you will, in which they took liberties with a lot of the storyline in order to kind of ramp up the drama. But to take an incident as sensitive as the Iranian hostage crisis and have to dramatize it for cinematic effect is trouble.
Not to interrupt you, but I will. But you did a film about Iran recently. So you really, your perspective is invaluable, because I feel like you can say on the record you can sort of speak to the accuracy and the message it is sending in terms of Iran and the situation over there.
Sure, absolutely. I did a film in 2008 in which I traveled to Iran and filmed breakdancers in Iran, and as a way to, expose a normally underlooked part of Iranian society, and to take a look at Iranian youth and current Iranian culture as a way to kind of build bridges. Now, these issues that are really brushed over a lot in Argo, they have a lot of deep-seated consequences in the reality on the ground. And unfortunately, the film, as well as it is a very well-told story, it's a dramatized version of history that I feel is, insensitively done in many ways.
All right, so panel, let's continue the conversation. What do you think? Do you think sort of the White House was endorsing what we saw in Argo and this dramatized version, so to speak? Who wants to take it?
No, I think Brother Dash is right. I think they're making too much out of Michelle Obama being there. I think she looked good. I think she is a supporter of the arts. I'll tell you what I saw was that Argo...
Tell us.
I am about to. Argo kept me in my seat.
I'm sorry, what?
It kept me in my
I
seat.
thought you said something else.
I thought it was a good...
No going to the bathroom for
I thought that's what I thought she said. It kept me in my seat. Excuse me?
Yeah, no. It was a well-told story. Yeah, it was dramatic, but that's why we go to the movies.
Right. I mean, I feel like if
It's not
it
a
wasn't,
documentary.
Exactly. This should have been a documentary if we're so concerned about, and just like Lincoln,
Well,
let's make Lincoln a documentary.
Yeah, or
Indeed.
Zero Dark 30, which really disappointed me because there was not enough dramatic tension. That was the one where I got up to go get more popcorn.
Okay, well, Taryn, I agree with you completely. This was such a directed and orchestrated. Give me a break. I mean, this movie is all about what the Obama administration supports, and Ben Affleck is very liberal.
Right.
And also, Michelle Obama, it's not a coincidence that she presented this. Give me a break. Let's call it what it is. This was so political, and I was disappointed in it because I'm like, oh, you know what? I want to watch the Oscars. I want to see, we've seen enough of the Obamas. We've seen the inauguration, all this crazy stuff going in D.C. Can we please just move it to a fun show and not make it political?
Did you like the movie?
Yeah, I like the movie. It was okay, but that has nothing to do with what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it was wrong, or I didn't like it. I didn't like it being political. We get that all day, every day in D.C. Could we just have a fun evening at the Oscars?
Yeah.
To me, that just ruined the whole thing.
And speaking of fun, some people didn't consider it fun because of Seth MacFarlane. Let me say, on the record and off the record, I thought he was terrific.
I did too.
I love his
too. I agree.
I love his sarcasm. I love his wit. He's easy on the eyes. Where's this guy been?
You know what?
He's
the Oscars have been
fantastic.
dead for years. I mean, I think they've been boring for years. I mean, remember James Franco? Yeah, exactly. So Seth MacFarlane, I thought he was brilliant. I hope they bring him back.
What do you think, Brother Dash?
Well, definitely. I think the controversy over Seth MacFarlane's comments, I mean, they're warranted in some instances, but I think at the same time you have to understand that this is meant to be an entertaining show. Okay, so when you have someone like Seth MacFarlane, who has somewhat of a history, you're not bringing on Mary Poppins.
You knew what you were getting.
Exactly, you knew what you were getting. You're going to get some off-color kind of humor and some things that might be a bit offensive to certain individuals. I don't think it was way over the top in terms of his comments. I think more so was the discussion on when it came to Zero Dark 30 and how it seemed to glorify torture or to justify the use of torture. That was a common kind of critique of that particular film. You discussed how Argo, you talked a little bit about that in terms of well, actually, our filmmaker talked about some of the historical inaccuracies, of that. And I think that's probably a little bit of a more, I wouldn't say more important discussion, but a very poignant one, and one that kind of resonates with a lot of people when we're talking about narratives. When we're talking about, when we're talking about narratives and who controls the narrative and politics, and that's I think
that's the important topic too.
Yes, hold that thought for a second, because Justin, we're going to lose the Skype connection. Justin, just a final thought on this, on what Brother Dash was saying.
Absolutely. I mean, the most troubling that I find about all this is just that, especially with Zero Dark 30 portraying our understanding of torture as essentially being the answer to solving our issues, to being our answer to finding the bad guy, where in reality, a lot of high-level agents have said that it wasn't the intelligence that was gotten from torture, but rather the intelligence that was gotten from other types of more traditional tactics. So I feel like we have to be critical as a society and be vigilant of the images that are coming to us, and just be careful all around.
Right, and Justin, I hate to cut you off, but unfortunately, I feel like Zero Dark 30 wouldn't have been as entertaining and therefore made as much money if the torture wasn't glorified and inaccurate, according to some. So, Justin, I want to thank you for your time and your insights. Invaluable.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Guys, I hate to say this, but you can't say anything more. Only I can.
Thank you.
We can say thank you.
Okay,
thank you for your insights. And just a show of hands, was anyone offended by the, I saw the Seth MacFarlane, we saw your breasts presentation where he did that whole skit. Did you guys see that?
No.
I was not offended.
I
by
wasn't
it.
offended.
Not offended
I was
by
not
it,
offended.
but I think it pointed out how women in Hollywood are asked to take their tops off so much and men are not.
Specifically Kate Winslet, because everything she does,
Right.
she's,
Right,
I thought that was
this,
hilarious.
that, yeah.
Thanks you guys for your
Thank
insight.
you.
It was fresh, and let's do this again next week, shall we? Okay. I want to thank my all-star panel, of course, for their extremely fresh outlooks. If you have a fresh outlook, we want to hear about it. Let us know on our Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter @AbrewTV, #FreshOutlook. I'm TWB in the Twitterverse @TWBrill. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Fresh Outlook.